Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unclipped. I cannot believe we are actually doing this. I'm kind of loving this little mic moment. It's like ASMR. Those people make a shit ton of money. But anyways, Unclipped. We're doing it. First episode, inaugural episode. Here we are. If you don't know me already, my name is Imani Brown, aka The Spincess, and I am your host of this podcast. I have kind of a lot of stage fright right now, but I know that as time moves on and as we progress more into this, that'll sort of subside. But right now I am extremely nervous. And if you're seeing this, and I have decided to put my nerves aside and just do the thing. So here we are, first episode. What I kind of wanted to do with this episode was to sort of lay some sort of groundwork, framework about who I am and what I want this space to be, right? So a little bit about me. I currently live in Lexington, Kentucky, but I'm originally from New York City. I moved here when I was 18 for school, but also for another stupid reason that I'm sure we will get into in a later episode. So in living in two very different places and sort of being at the point in my life where I'm doing a lot of reflecting, I found that it has been very difficult for me to find a place where I can call home. It's been very difficult for me to fit in most places that I've been in. And that was sort of the driving force behind creating this space. I feel like we use a lot of energy towards trying to find a space that's our home, trying to change ourselves to fit in places where we could be using the same energy to creating our home, creating spaces where we just automatically fit into instead of trying to fit ourselves into a place that was already established. We get so fixated and obsessed on finding a home and finding where we fit in that we may not consider that our home doesn't exist in the current realm of reality. We may need to be the inventors, the artists, the engineers behind that home. And so I kind of want to segue into that is why I created this space, because I feel like I'm so many different people at once, and I know a lot of people can identify with that. There's so many things I'm interested in, so many avenues I'd like to pursue, so many people I want to be all while being myself. And I just want to get the point across that it's okay to be a multi-passionate and multi-dimensional individual, and we don't need to be able to label ourselves or define exactly who we are to live a life that we enjoy. Aside from the fact that I'm a New Yorker living in Kentucky, I'm 27 years old, fashion enthusiast, an indoor cycling instructor, and I hopefully one day will be a physician. And aside from all of those titles, all of those labels I put on myself, what it boils down to is that I'm a human, and there's so much nuance behind the human experience, even when we get rid of those titles. With that human experience comes a myriad of problems and possibilities. And so what I want from this space is that it can be just as much entertaining as it is educational, just as much inspirational as it is informative. I want us to be able to go and grow through this human experience together and not have to put definite labels on what we're going through. I want this to be a collaborative space where you and I can share experiences, stories, opinions, without having to define exactly what this is. So, like I said before, I'm an indoor cycling instructor, and on the bike, I tell my riders pretty often that what doesn't challenge you doesn't change you. So I feel like as a fitness instructor, and let me know in the comments or in my DMs if you also feel this way as a fitness instructor, but I feel like we have a really rough time taking our own advice. I mean, I like drill this into my riders' heads. So I think it's about time I take my own advice and really challenge myself. The challenge here is me being vulnerable. I have a difficult time being vulnerable and really expressing exactly how I'm feeling. I'm not sure if that's because it's difficult for me to grasp what I'm feeling or if I just really don't like to discuss it. But ultimately, the bottom line is I have a difficult time being vulnerable. But I did a lot of reflecting on the woman, the person I want to become, and the natural next step is sort of being comfortable with being uncomfortable and becoming vulnerable, becoming a better communicator. And this podcast was just the natural progression of that. So I'm so excited to create this space and just see where it goes. With that being said, this is going to be a podcast where we sort of talk about everything from mental health to fashion to love, life in general, food, pop culture, you name it, we will talk about it. I just want this to be a space where we can enrich the human experience. And I think that sometimes we feel that in order to do that, we need to do something profound. But the reality is that everything has purpose, big or small. And the bottom line is, I want this space, I want Unclipped to serve its purpose, whatever that means in your or my life. This space might not be a place for everyone, but I do hope that at least anybody who's watching an episode at any given moment can take something of value from it. So let's get in on the little details, some smaller little details of Unclipped. The day that this is releasing will be September 21st, 2023. And that date was picked strategically because 1 year ago, September 21st, 2022, was the day I taught my very first cycling class. And I can't even believe I'm saying that. Like, it almost brings tears to my eyes. I'm probably going to cry after this, but it brings tears to my eyes because you could have never told me that I would be a fitness instructor. Fitness was never a space that I thought that I could occupy space in. Growing up, I was always the quote chubby unquote kid. I was never athletic, and being athletic and being in fitness was a really toxic space for me because it really influenced me to focus on how my body looked instead of how my body performed or how I felt while I was doing that activity. And I'm incredibly thankful I'm in the space that I am right now, and that fitness has progressed to where it has, where I think, at least in the space that I'm in, is primarily focused on how you feel doing those movements and just feeling good, moving your body and around other people who are moving their body in ways that feel good as well. I started working out at an incredibly rough point in my life, and I'll probably touch upon that time in some episodes. It's a very long story, so it'll probably be a few episodes long, but besides that, it was a really rough point in my life that I found fitness, that I found cycling. And still from that point, if I take myself back to the point where I started working out, I still would have never thought I'd be an instructor. The guidance and the inspiration that the instructors along my journey provided me, really influenced me to become an instructor. And I'm thankful, and I'm so lucky that I'm in a space where I can provide that to other people. I often think about the impact that I feel like I want to make on the world, and the fact that I never thought I could make it being a fitness instructor. And that's exactly where at this point in my life that I'm finding that I can make that impact. I feel like for a while I lived my life feeling like the only way that I could make the impact I wanted to was through pursuing being a physician. And while I'm still on that route, there are things that I can do along the way and continue to do that will fulfill me and fulfill the mission that I feel that I'm here to do. So if this place is nothing else, I want it to be a testament of the fact that sometimes you step out on a limb and it holds you up. Becoming a fitness instructor was probably like the smallest limb that I've ever stepped out on. And here I am. It's been a crazy ride, but it's been one of the best rides of my life. And I can't wait to continue that and to chronicle it on here, hopefully, and on social media and things like that. So I kind of want to segue into another little small detail, but kind of not small at the same time. The name, Unclipped. Why Unclipped? So like I said, probably about 10 million times before, and you probably already know if you're watching the first few episodes. I'm an indoor cycling instructor, and if you have ever cycled, you know that you clip into, most places you clip into the pedals. When you clip into these pedals, you are encouraged to set a goal, whether it be to just have fun, whether it be to just get through the ride, whether it be to set a personal record. You sort of envision like a destination. You have a mission, you have a goal, you have some sort of desire at the end of this. There's a culmination to it. And what you're doing during the ride sort of is justified by the destination. What I want us to be able to do here is act as a contrast and a complement to that journey on the bike. I want this to be a journey off the bike where we can unclip and relax. I want, instead of us acting to justify some sort of end or to complete some sort of mission, I want us to just be able to exist without the pressure of having to define a goal. To unclip is to let go of any expectations we have of ourselves or of the world around us. And another not so serious side of it is more often than not, I think on this podcast, I will act unhinged, and I sort of want an Unclipped to be some sort of equivalency to my unhinged behavior at many points in time. So now that we've got some housekeeping out of the way, I want you to get used to seeing or listening to me on Thursdays every week. And I want this to be a space for you just as much as it is for me. So I would love, encourage, force your feedback. Comment on my post, DM me, do whatever you need to do. Give me suggestions, questions, comments. I love feedback. I love constructive criticism. I am always trying to be a better person and better in every aspect of my life. So please, suggestions, comments, questions. So with that said, ride with me.